Good evening. We'd like to welcome you all to our February school board meeting. Appreciate you being here. I'll call this meeting into order and have a pledge of allegiance by Mr. Perkins, and I will offer the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we are grateful to be here this evening. We're grateful for those in attendance. We are grateful for the opportunity to serve in this capacity. We express gratitude for our superintendent and the administration and all of the staff members throughout the district. We're grateful for their efforts and for their fine work in helping to prepare our children for their futures. We ask that you please bless us that we might make correct decisions that will impact this district and the students therein in a positive way, that we might have a greater influence for good. We express gratitude for all that thou dost for us, and do so in the name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 1.2, recognition of February legendary staff members.
Mr. President, members of the board, I would invite you to make your way down to Clinton Center as we recognize some of our staff members this evening. All right, Mrs. Jaramillo, could you come first?
Members of the board, let me introduce Heather Johnson to you. Heather Johnson is our PE teacher. And first of all, I want to thank you just for the wisdom of being able of saying, yes, let's hire certified staff. It's really the difference between playing tag and with pool noodles and teaching children foundations. And we have many in our community that can't afford city sports or, team sports, and yet they get this foundation by having a certified teacher in PE that knows what she's doing. And that has just been wonderful to watch. Heather also does reading intervention groups. She's done after-school tutoring, and she's involved in our community. I was asking her tonight, because I thought she did hike trails and stuff, and she said she does tracks with mostly retired people. Anyway, I asked people about Heather because I think she's awesome and have been impressed with her from day one. So Rachel told me that just when she walked in the door on the first day, she was here. I am here. What can I do? I'm going to make this my place. This is my home. And she said she's really just a come in and get things done kind of person. One of a colleague of hers said, you know what I like about her? She's not gossipy, and she's a really positive person, and she always looks for positive things in people. One of her colleagues says, you know what she is? She's 100% of the time, she's 100%. She said she never comes in and gives part of a day. She gives a full day every day. And I love to ask kids about her. So one of the little girls told me, you know what I like is because we get to jog and you know that is slow running. That's what jogging is. That she does fun stuff. She teaches us about health, but it's fun. She's really nice. That was a lot of really nice. She's caring. And one of the children told me today, I like to exercise and Miss Johnson makes it fun. So there's just so many things about her that are nice. And she did. She came in on the first day before school even started and just wanted to know about everything. And she's just been that way ever since, like she is part of this community. So I want to just tell her how much I love her here and so thankful she's with us.
Thank you. That was really nice.
Thank you. Okay.
One, two, three. Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Ramsey?
Mr. Housley, members of the school board, thank you for giving me the opportunity to present our Linden cafeteria manager as our legendary staff member. This is Mrs. Daphne Jackson. Daphne started out volunteering at the Clay Springs Elementary, and she would go over and she would help with the food service over there. There wasn't anybody who was hired for that position. She did it for quite a while, and then 19 years ago, she was hired on to actually fulfill that position. When the school closed, she came over to Linden, and she's been working there since. And last year, the manager position opened up, and she went for it. I think she was a little hesitant and a little nervous about it, but she did it, and she has been a natural. It has been great having her in that position. She loves cooking, and you can just see it every day. She comes with a positive attitude. She makes coming to breakfast and lunch a pleasant time, and we really appreciate all the hard work that she does to keep the food service program going in our school. Daphne Jackson. Thank you.
Okay, one, two, three. All righty.
Mr. Adams?
Good evening, Superintendent Housley and members of the Shoal School Board. It's great to be here. It's great to be here with Nikki Muzzerall and science. Go science. So yeah, that's right. I have a little prepared letter. I want to read this because Nikki Muzzerall is our legendary teacher for Shoal High School this month. And we're going to brag about her just a little bit here in writing. So Superintendent Housley and Shoal Unified District Board members, Miss Muzzerall is my favorite teacher. I had her at the junior high and looked forward to and love her class at Shoal High School. Quote by one of her students. Loved her at the junior high, love her at the high school. This student's quote demonstrates the foundation to Miss Muzzerall's teaching, which is that she develops relationships with each and every student. A fellow administrator commented to me that, quote, I never see her or her students in my office, and this is a good thing, end of quote. And the reason why is she has created foundational relationships with these students of hers that allow her to focus on teaching and student growth and achievement. Time is not spent on discipline. Every minute of her classes are focused on student learning. If you walk in there, it's amazing. And they love it. It's science. Why couldn't they love it? Okay. Now, we don't want you to think that Nikki Muzzerall is all about books and no fun. At the junior high, she started the travel club, and one of the trips went to Washington, D.C. At the high school, she runs the ski club, with the club just completing and having to endure a few days at the Purgatory Ski Resort in Colorado. She also organized the high school rodeo club, which competes right now throughout the school year as a competition team at Shoal High School. She teaches a science exploration class during her prep hour for those students with special needs. I personally never see Nikki Muzzerall slow down. She goes strong all day, each and every day. Thank you, Mrs. Muzzerall, for engaging all of your students and pushing their thinking to the maximum. You continually inspire and challenge Shoal High School students' minds. Thank you, Nikki. It's a pleasure to have you at the high school.
One, two, three. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're ready to come back.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. 1.3, Superintendent Report to include comments on extracurricular activities, curriculum, and current events. Mr. Helsley.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are knee-deep in budget discussions and evaluations of proposals. That's an exciting time. We also are anxiously watching the state's budget. The proposal by the governor has some pretty important things to us. I just want to take a second to plug, if there are over 200 bills in the state legislation now that affect education. Some have already gone the way, some are gaining headway. I would encourage our public to look at those and advocate for the ones that they feel strongest about. Contact our local senators and members of the House of Representatives, because those things will affect how we do business. And there's some good things in there. There's also some things that might impact us. So look at those and participate in that process. I would encourage that. But we're looking very closely at our budget to see how things are, and we're pretty optimistic about what we might be able to do in the upcoming year. We also, just to let you know, we, as we did last year, the administrative team are performing sweeps. We're walking through, there's no other word to call it, but we're just walking into all the classrooms around the district. And we spent time this week at the junior high and high school on Tuesday. And we anticipate next Tuesday being at the 3 elementary schools. What an exciting time. That sums it up. Great teachers doing great things for kids, and I'm excited about the progress that we're making in our delivery of content, as well as how the students feel in class. It was a real neat and special feel, and that's because we have great professionals in the classroom doing great things for kids. And that's what I wanted to report. Also on Monday, as you may or may not be aware, that spring sports have kicked off. I know the weather is perfect for it, but we sure hope we get some snow here in the interim. Probably will happen in April, on graduation night, but we're moving right along. Things are going pretty fast. We have benchmark testing coming up at the end of February, first part of March, spring break, and and then it's fourth quarter, so it's gone by quickly. So that's my report, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I recognize these guys.
1.4, call to the audience. Did we have anything, Kelly?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. 1.5, future board agenda items. Does anybody have anything they would like included on future agenda? Okay. .1, approval of overnight out-of-state travel. Mr. Housley.
There are several requests here for overnight and out-of-state travel. Mr. President, members of the board, for your consideration. Mr. Adams is requesting approval for the high school robotics advisor, Corey Gillespie, and chaperones and 9 students to attend the Goodyear tournament in Goodyear, February 9th and 10th. Also, the high school robotics club to attend a competition or the state tournament in Flagstaff on February 23rd and 24th. Also, the high school robotics club to attend the FRC tournament in Flagstaff, March 8th through the 10th. Mr. Adams is also requesting that Mr. Butler, with the CTE TV and film production crew, for him to go to the National Association of Broadcasters Conference in Las Vegas in April. That would be the 6th through the 11th. That is paid through NAVIT funds. Mr. Adams is also requesting Mr. Lofgreen to attend the Photoshop World 2018 Professional Development in Florida, May 30th through June 2nd. The itinerary is enclosed in there. Also, Mr. Lofgreen and Mr. Butler to attend the Adobe Max Creative Conference in Los Angeles, October 14th through the 18th of this year, 2018. They'll attend the conference with 7 other teachers from other districts. These are both items that are NAVIT supported through their professional development there. Mr. Adams is also requesting that Mr. Butler take the high school film crew to record the 3A state basketball playoffs with iTalk 106.7. The dates include February 16th, 17th, 19th, 20th, 23rd, 24th, 26th, and 27th. AIA doesn't believe in getting the basketball tournament over in a weekend. They do it over a month. So that's why that would be that. I would request your approval of overnight and out-of-state travel as requested.
I'll make a recommendation to approve overnight and out-of-state travel as presented.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 3.1, approval of resignations and leave of absence. Mr. Housley.
For your consideration this evening, Mr. President and members of the board, Dennis Lynn, a bus driver, effective 12/20/17. That was a leave of absence that started back at that time. Also resignations of Mr. Clough, a high school PE teacher, effective at the end of June. Justin Cole, bus driver, effective 2/9/18. Elizabeth Davis, a 3rd grade teacher, effective in the end of June. Nicole Evans, 2nd grade teacher, effective the 31st of May. Linda Haynes, the junior high secretary, effective March 26th. And Starla Stansberry, the Whipple Ranch elementary secretary, effective on 3/2. Just one little side note, Mrs. Stansberry is going back to finish her degree in education, so I think this is her time to do her student teaching. So it's I think she'll benefit our district in the future if she decides to stay with us. Also, Mr. Farrell Adams, the high school principal, it's kind of like losing an icon, right?
Right.
I think he was here on day one when Sholo became Sholo. But he's been a fixture in the district, been a fixture, graduated from Sholo High School, bleeds green and gold. Can't say enough about him, but we'll definitely celebrate as he ends his career. We'll celebrate with him a nice retirement for himself. So we're going to miss him. We love him. We want him to know that we love and cherish his commitment to Sholo schools. So that'll be effective the end of June. And he's informed me he has a lot of work to do between now and then. So that's exciting.
If we don't accept his resignation, does he have to stay?
Yeah, really.
He just might not sign his next contract, I'm not sure.
Well, before I make that recommendation to accept these, I too have to say that Mr. Adams is the one that hired me to this school district, and I don't even know if I can do this without crying. And so I, like the rest of the board, I'm sure, take this one with a big heart. And well, I wouldn't be sitting here without you, Mr. Adams. So I'll make the recommendation.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Anything else further? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 3.2, approval of one full-time grounds position. Mr. Housley.
Mr. President, we are ramping up for the spring and into the summer, and with the demands that have been put on our grounds crews in the past, Mr. West feels it necessary to ask that we hire another grounds person to fulfill those obligations that become theirs. And I would concur after reviewing the needs and the jobs that we have coming up. So I would recommend that we approve an additional full-time grounds position to our current staffing.
I motion for the approval of one full-time grounds position as presented.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 3.3, approval of new hires and transfers. Mr. Housley.
Mr. President, members of the board, we have several here for you. Ms. Susan Anderson, the junior high school secretary. Thomas Iverson, he's coming back to us. He will fill one of our grounds positions. And then Deborah Thompson will fill the position that you approved this evening. I would recommend those positions for hire as presented.
So motioned.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 3.4, approval of substitutes. Mr. Housley.
Mr. President, we're recommending the approval of the following certified and classified substitutes. Mark Munoz, a long-term substitute as a high school art teacher, retroactive to 1/8/18. He's been in that position for some time now. And Miss Sarah Karchner as a K-12 substitute. Also classified, Amy Blasdell, food service, Chad Dietering as a sub-custodial, Guadalupe Herrera as sub-custodian, Fernando Ortiz as a sub-custodian, Ken Weaver as a sub-custodian, Jamie Wright as a sub-teacher assistant, and Agnes Hanna as a sub-bus driver. It's my recommendation that we approve these as outlined, Mr. President.
Make a motion for approval of substitutes as presented.
Second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 3.5, approval of stipends and volunteers. Mr. Housley.
I would recommend the following individuals to these positions as stipend and volunteers. High school golf coach, Mr. Matt Thacker, as the head varsity coach, and the junior high track is Tom Rosenbaum as a junior high jump coach. As volunteers, high school golf, Randy Bigos as the assistant varsity JV coach, Michael Lunt, and Jeffrey Houston is the same, assistant varsity and JV coach. Also as high school robotics, Ethan Gillespie, Keely Rascone, and Isabel Scarlett as a parent volunteer. At the Spanish club, Perla McNeil, Scott Tipton, and Jeff Moore. High school track, Sierra Daniel and Troy Layden. And as an event worker, Judy Fabik. I would recommend these as outlined. Fabik, I'm sorry.
I motion for the approval of stipends and volunteers as presented.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 5.1, approval of bus trade-ins to be used towards purchase of new buses. Mr. Schubert.
Yes, in your packet, you have a listing of the 10 buses that we are looking to trade in, and the value of these trade-ins will go towards the purchase of our bond buses that we are looking to be getting. These buses, it's better for us to go the route of a trade-in. The last time that we sold a bus at auction, we got $1,500 for the bus, so this just adds more value for the district by going the trade-in route. 9 of these buses will be going to Canyon State, 1 will be going to Ash. The 1 bus going to Ash will be the one that won't make the trip to the valley. So that's one of the keys to the trade-ins, is that they actually have to make it to the location, and the 1 bus that we don't believe will make it to Phoenix is going to Holbrook. So we bring this to you tonight for your approvals.
Make a motion to approve the bus trade-ins.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 5.2, bond update. Mr. Stewart.
So it's pretty exciting times when we're dealing with the bond so far. We've issued 4 POs for buses. Those 4 POs pay for all 11 buses that we're looking to get. That total is, those total POs are for $1,458,107.86. So that comes in under the amount that we were looking to spend on buses. We've also issued out 2 other purchase orders, one to the Facilities Management Group. What the FMG does is they provide project management for bonding. So basically, it'll be a third-party oversight to make sure that we're complying with everything within the bond. They will actually run any of our projects. So if we were to do, say, an LED lighting project, they'd be the contact point for the project, reporting straight to the district and the board as needed. We've also issued a purchase order to LSW Electrical Engineers. What they will be doing is they're going to be doing a power study at the junior high to make sure, you know, the electrical system is up to where it needs to be. They will also be doing an analysis for a conversion from evaporative cooling to HVAC. So we're looking forward to getting those both projects up and running, and that's the report that I have for you so far on the bond.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. .0 consent agenda.
So tonight, before you on the consent agenda, we have the ratification of our expense and payroll vouchers, the ratification of the junior high, excuse me, junior high and the high school activity revenues and expenditures, and approval of the DonorsChoose.org. They donated funding for the junior high escape room valued at $177.57. And that's our consent agenda for this month.
Thank you.
I'll move we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Adjournment.
Mr. President, prior to our adjournment, can I just point out in your board packet, there is some information for you about the high school FBLA. And Mrs. Goodman that took them there and outlines all the students and their performances. Please take a look at that. They did a phenomenal job. Our kids continue to perform and do great things. So I wanted to point that out. It's in your agenda as some informational items. So appreciate the hard work that they put into that.
Can I ask, what's the possibility of having them come see us?
It's great.
Good. I would like that. When we have students that excel so well, no matter what, I'd like to see them here and like to see us recognize them in public.
Absolutely.
With that said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all very much for being here.